6 months after someone broke into a house in Winnipeg, police arrested a 32-year-old Indigenous man for the crime. He was a routine offender. He used drugs. He couldn't even remember where he was the night the crime happened. Everything about him said that he was guilty, right? I mean, eventually, even he said that he was guilty. He pleaded guilty. I was sentenced to 6 months in prison, which, by the way, was just about how long he was in custody waiting for his trial. And so he basically went free. The thing is, there was something much bigger than his background, bigger than his memory, that proved that he couldn't have done it. At the time that the crime was taking place, Richard Catchway, that's his name, was in prison 2 hours away in Brandon. I learned about Richard's story from the book Wrongfully Convicted, Guilty Pleas, Imagined Crimes, and What Canada Must Do to Safeguard Justice. Professor Kent Roach, who wrote the book, gives Catchway's case as an example of what is called a false guilty plea. It's one of many stories in the book that really opened my eyes to this world of wrongful convictions. I didn't have the language to process a lot of things I saw and felt in the criminal justice system until I read. I have done a full review of the book, which I'll post separately because it's just too much to discuss about it to put here. Professor Roach is my guest on this show today. He's a professor of law at the University of Toronto, and he's recognized globally as a leader in terms of wrongful conviction research. I've interviewed people from the US and from UK and Canada on this topic, and everywhere I'm talking to somebody established in the field, they mention his name. And so it was really a privilege to speak to him. I was excited to have him as a guest. One thing I must say that stood out to me, that blew me away about my interaction with Professor Roach, is that when I reached out to him, he responded with just overwhelming enthusiasm and humility. He just said, yeah, man. Didn't say, yeah, man, but he said, in fact, he said he was just reading Neville Lewis, a Jamaican case, and he was so excited to talk about the topic. And you can tell you're going to have a good conversation when you talk to somebody who is passionate about their work, right? And if you hear me talking a lot during the episode, it's because he insisted that he didn't just want to talk, he also wanted to learn from me about Jamaica and about what's happening there. So today I'm very excited to share this conversation with you. I hope you enjoy.